If you have an endless argument that never stops, that just keeps kind of looping back to the beginning, this is identity and control that you're dealing with. If you have all of a sudden someone storming out or yelling or screaming and it's a sudden spike, that's control and safety.
To be the best employee, to be the best boss, to be the best parent, to be the best spouse, you need to diffuse bad situations. In marriage, we're sitting at a 50% divorce rate. Almost no one's there at the marriage day in their white dress or in their suit unhappy. What happens? How did they go downhill? They could not sort out the bad stuff. They didn't go downhill because of the good stuff, but because they couldn't identify and sort out the bad stuff. In fact, they accelerated the deterioration through bad discipline, shouting, screaming, and wicked behavior.
If you have somebody mocking you or kind of really passive aggressive behavior, this is identity and safety threat. If you have rage and maybe a shutdown and fear in the eyes, you probably have all three of those things. Your job is to see all that clearly. Step one is recognize what shift took place. Step two, diagnose. Never accept their language without precision. Demand precision. If you hear words like disrespect or abuse or betrayal, they hijack the entire frame, the entire story, the whole narrative, unless they are challenged. You might say something like that word or those words carry a whole lot of weight. And if I accept them, I'm not speaking for myself. I'm playing by a script that I didn't write. Or you might say, when you said the word blank, how do you define that? Clarity, demanding that clarity. So any of these attacks, you always go back onto them. You never defend yourself. You never make any response about yourself personally. Number 7 is never answer the binary traps. And these are pretty common. These are the yes, no, either or kind of questions. And they're designed to corner you. And they're not real questions at all. But that's a trap disguised as a question. Number 8, never, ever, ever try to win through logic alone. Logic dominance does not resolve emotional framing. Number 9, never argue their feelings are wrong. And here's a golden phrase I want you to burn into your mind. That line pushes me to take responsibility for how you feel instead of what I did. And I don't want that role in this situation. Number 10, never try to fix the person mid-conflict. This is what we all think we're going to do, right? We all secretly think teaching, coaching, analyzing while they're trying to gain control triggers humiliation and shame. So remember, if you're stepping in to do that, that's not the way to do it. There's no phrase for this one. It's a dominance play, and you don't want to do that. So when it comes to framing, most of the problems that people deal with in communications do not start in the conflict. They start before it in the first 30 seconds. They start in that little gray area where nobody has defined who we are to each other, what the conversation's about, what the rules are, and what we are not going to do. If you don't set that, the other person's going to do that. So tactical pre-framing is how we get there first. We're going to hack their identity, and we're going to define the frame. This is about. So we give them a self-image. So step 1 would be like, you've always struck me as somebody who can handle straight talk. So I want to be very direct about this. So pre-framing identity. Now we set the frame. So we make them the kind of person who will accept the frame and then give them the frame. And then we align with them. The third step here is to pre-frame the sides. We're on the same side. And you just say that. Like, we're on the same team here. Even if we see this from different angles, I think we're on the same team. Like, here's what it would say at the very beginning of a conversation. I'll start back at step 1. Thanks for coming in, John. You've always struck me as somebody who can handle straight talk. So I want to be direct about this. My goal isn't to blame you or anything. I don't want to win or be right. So I want to get this thing into a better place. And I want us on the same side of the table looking at the problem, not across from each other. Then we get into step 4. This is where we use boundaries. So here's where you throw in the line of, I really want to talk about this with you, but I'm not going to do shouting or insults. We can get into this as long as we keep to what happened and not what kind of people we are. And I'm sure you can agree with that, but I at least wanted to say it. And this next, we seed the reputation. Basically, you're saying you're better than all the games people play. You're going to give them a status. They're going to feel shame associated with dropping. And you're going to say, and you've always been fair with me. And that's why I feel safe being honest here. You know, one thing I respect about you is that you don't play around with half-truths. So I want to put everything on the table right now. So this is identity hacking. We're installing fair, honest, direct as part of their self-concept here.